Starting with the Irish Times this morning, it is Ulster set to march across border on Brexit weekend. You see what they did there? All the English teams out of the Heineken Cup. And a great picture of Sean O'Brien with his head up Devon Toner's ass, basically. But great to see Sean O'Brien back. Great to see Robbie Henshaw back as well. Just in time for some action in the Six Nations. I suspect Henshaw's probably going to start.
Yeah, I think so. Like we're going to speak to Brian O'Driscoll this week and get his midfield depth chart for the final say on it. But I think when you've got them fit, when you've got Ringrose and Henshaw both fit and flying at the moment for Leinster, you've got to start them.
When you say fit, though, there's a difference between physically fit and obviously match fit. I mean, how many games have they played?
60 minutes.
60 minutes
after 12 weeks out.
I think that's a nice little tune up before the England game. I think he looked really good. I think he carried really well on yesterday afternoon. Like I think there's absolutely no question that
Bundy fitting well. Played every game last year.
I just don't see how you can make that argument over Henshaw and Ringrose. Like it is certainly more of an argument than it was after what happened in the autumn internationals for sure. I just think the way that they've been handcuffed at provincial level, like it's just a duo. It's kind of science.
I think they've hardly played together. Is my point because of the injuries that they've both been injured at different times.
Yeah, but there's sort of an IQ you build up over time. It's not like that they've lost that connection with one another just because Robbie Henshaw's been injured for a while. Like the prolonged period of them playing last season for Leinster will also stand them in good stead.
Have they played loads of games together?
They certainly played more than Bundy and Gary Ringrose have played. And at this point, surely they played more than Henshaw and Aki have played, but that's quite some time ago at this point.
I don't think they have.
Oh, Joe's not letting this one go, is he? He's not letting it go.
I don't see how Aki is ahead of Robbie Henshaw in the pecking order. But obviously, because of his November internationals, he was brilliant.
Yeah. Who?
Joe
Bundy. He was brilliant. But I still think Robbie Henshaw was the first choice midfielder last year, and there's no way you can move him out of that position.
Except that Bundy played every game in the Six Nations.
In the Six Nations?
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah. He was the one constant because everybody else got injured. So Robbie Henshaw does his shoulder scoring a try in the first game. Chris Henry comes in.
Chris Farrell
comes in, plays 2 games, and then Ringrose is fit and
yes, Ringrose is injured for the start of the Six Nations.
Yeah.
Don't worry
about it. We'll get it.
Well, I still think we'll see what Brian O'Driscoll says this week.
Oh, that's a desperation. That's a desperation throwaway comment.
For me, it's
he's
like,
leaning on Brian O'Driscoll to bail him out now.
It's Ringrose and Henshaw, like without question for me.
Let's move on.
Back off now. Back off. You're in a strong position there, but you're wobbling now. You're wobbling on.
Shane Lowry. Here's a question for you. Lowry hopes. I'll just read this properly. Larry hopes to kick on after fighting back for Abu Dhabi victory. So that's Shane Lowry and his daughter on the green at the 18th after an amazing come-from-behind win. It was wire to wire, but it was also come from behind, which is he Ireland's most popular sports person? Is Shane Lowry Ireland's most popular sports person?
He's pretty close, isn't he? It's like... There wasn't a single bad word said about it. Like even just in terms of a popular sports person as an export, there wasn't a single bad word said about Shane Lowry or nobody who wasn't delighted for him internationally over the course of the weekend.
Yeah, you do hear that, yeah. Even like you said, it's not just a fact in order. You hear a lot of people over here just in comments, nice fella, boom, saw him here, nice manner and all that. But like you say, even how he's spoken about it over in the States as a person, even as a golfer, in terms of how good he is. I think we all know his qualities that he has. He's a very talented golfer. I know the last couple of years he's been up and down a little bit, but he always struck me as the type, forget about his game, obviously they've all got exceptional games, top 50, 100 golfer, but just like mentally, of course, where it really matters, he always looks to me somebody who's capable of playing in the biggest company and not being overawed, somebody who can actually win the big events. And I think that's going to happen the next 2 or 3 years. He'd be the one. Generally, I throw a bit of the majors. We're not a betting man, but a few quid on the majors when they come around. Somebody outside of the decent odds, and he's the one I think the next 2 to 3 years who's more than capable. Not one of the top ranked, maybe top 6, 12. He's only got into the top 50 off the back of that win, isn't he?
Yeah, like the great thing about Shane Lowry is that once he's on form, he's actually a pretty tough guy to stop. Because it's hard to tell what exactly his weakness is with his game. It's just that it sort of all comes together for him at once, or else it all falls to pieces for him at once.
But people referenced like the US Open a couple of years ago. He had it as if like nobody's gone into the last round of a major and like lost the lead. Like
he talked about that actually. He did talk about that. I don't know if it's in this piece or in the Times. He was talking about just not really giving himself a go that day. Not that he choked, but there was like definitely a phrase. Anyway, so I don't know if you realise this, he was 3 down. Sorry, he was 3 back with 7 holes left to play and comes back to win, which is like really ballsy for a tournament where you shoot the lights out on the first round and you're like, oh, I'm going to have to win this now, because if I don't, it's a complete waste of the best round of my European Tour career or career anywhere.
I think he made the point, I think you might be referencing the point, I think he's quoted, I heard him quoted as saying that in relation to the US Open, what he learned from it was the fact he gets in that position again, to keep being aggressive, to keep looking to play your shots. I think he made the point he tried to manage, the last round and maybe not play his natural game. But that's just something you learn. That's just like you learn from experience. So he's in a better place, and from that experience of the US Open a couple of years ago, clearly he's in a better place.
Yeah, no, it was a fantastic win for him. So a step ahead, that's Gary Ringrose and his dancing feet. Ulster will provide intriguing All-Ireland tests, but Saracens look the only team capable of preventing a Leinster double. That's Eamon Sweeney's piece inside, although Tony Ward does say that Munster could actually beat Leinster as well. Are the semi-final draws made? Do we know who plays in the semi-final? Is it 1 and 4 and 2 and 3? Is it seeded that way? Good question. Blank faces.
As soon as you started talking rugby, I was gone. I don't know where I wasn't even with you. I wasn't even in the room, to be honest with you.
You presume it's Saracens Munster in the semi-final were to line up that way.
O'Neill's slow start brings Forrest back down to earth. Dan McDonald was over at Forrest. We'll talk about that a little bit later, actually. And then an interesting piece from Colm Keys that says, missed opportunity, as stats show hand pass rule was having the desired effect. So Rob Carroll did stats on, I think, 10 games, 10 pre-season games, to see how the impact of the new hand passing rule was having. 100 fewer hand passes per game in the 10 games than this time last year, and a massive rise in kick passes. The ratio of hand to kick passes in the championship was 3.5 to 1, and it was just 1.3 to 1 in the 10 pre-season games. So everybody wanted less hand passing, more kick passing. They got this, and they were like, nah, I don't want that. Is that fair enough?
No, it's absolutely not fair enough. It was a huge win on Saturday for the Gaelic Football Managers Union, because they've had an absolute roaring success in terms of controlling a narrative and pushing out the idea of what rules should be brought forward. And as I say, it's just been a massive victory for the likes of Kevin Walsh, the likes of Turlock O'Brien, the people who were naysayers against it, despite the fact that it was never implemented into league football. One vote, if that had swung the other way, the likelihood is that hand pass rule would have been implemented. Colm Keys says there it was 25-23, certainly a 2-vote gap, so one vote swing, and then it would have been a casting vote, which according to Colm Keys might well have been a win for the hand pass rule. So I'm absolutely convinced that some comments from the managers impacted a few of those votes, and as I say, a huge win for them. I just think it's what a pointless exercise this has all been. Like, why was this not implemented for the National League and then ditch it? I'm not saying I was a huge fan of it. I just really think we needed to see it for the National League.
Yeah, I think you got a fair point, unless you actually roll out and have a look at it. I mean, there was such a huge swathe of criticism of the hand pass changes. There wasn't from managers and players. You were hearing a lot of it. So that's what kind of initially we spoke about it in here, and I was thinking, well, I can see the logic of that. Yeah, let's have a roll out. Let's have a look. You're never going to know. You can talk about it like how it's going, but you actually see it in practice, you're never quite sure. But off the back of that, there was a huge amount of criticisms from a lot of players and managers, and people obviously respect to win the game. So that's when I took a step back and thought, well, maybe I might have got this wrong. But I'm a little bit with you. I'm interested in the other kind of real changes that are coming in. But I actually genuinely would have liked to have seen it rolled out in a number of the games. Just had a look at it, because everybody seems to be in agreement something has to change. I had this conversation with somebody yesterday. It's got to change. He was very critical of the hand pass change. Absolutely delighted that it wasn't being introduced, but at the same time he was saying, I just can't be bothered watching a game of football, and this is a big gas apart. So well, what's your answer? You're saying that it's not the hand pass, so what are you saying? What are you throwing out there? What are you putting on the table? What's your
the alternative? Yeah,
what is the alternative?
Yeah, so let's wait and see if anybody comes up with one. So there it is, firm grip. That is James Ryan, history made by Irish provinces in Europe, where all 3 of them are through, and Connacht are through to a quarter-final as well. Picture of Shane Lowry there as well. Leinster and Ulster gear up for showdown. Same picture of Gary Ringrose and his dancing feet. Keane starts on pathway to pro licence. This is interesting. So Mick McCarthy's new assistant manager will be part of the latest intake of participants on the FAI's UEFA pro licence course. It's our 6th group at pro licence level, says Rude Doctor, and they've named names. So the full list of names is Damien Duff,
Keith Andrews,
Andy Reid, Keith Andrews, Jim McGuinness, Finney Perth. Is Jim McGuinness not already in Charlotte? Is that?
Can you do the course via Skype?
Don't know. Can you do bits and pieces of it?
I think you can. I'm sure they're trying to accommodate you as best you could. I think there's certain days, obviously, you need to be present, but then obviously you go away and do your work, get your coaching hours, and you get your modules done, etc. Oof. Wouldn't want to be in their shoes. Again, the lads, it's a bit of a...
Was it arduous?
Yeah, it's a bit of a process. I mean, it's dragged on for about kind of 18 months, I'd say. The pro licence, the last one, obviously, from start to finish. So
when did you do yours?
No, it seems a long time ago now. It might be 6, 7, 8 years. I think ours was the second one. This is the sixth, I think Rude was saying. Ours was the second pro licence that they rolled in. But yeah, you just got to blinkers on and get through it.
All right, he's actually, Jim McGuinness is back in Ireland. You can watch the interview he did with Nathan and Kev at the weekend. Actually, it went out on Saturdays off the ball. So Cheltenham and Rooney's set to meet to discuss owners' track boycott. This is amazing stuff here that the Rooneys, who were fourth in the British Jumps Owners' Championship, have not had a runner at Cheltenham since the first day of the November meeting, having instructed their numerous trainers don't enter their horses to run the course until further notice due to concerns the track poses a higher risk of injury to their runners. I don't know if this is connected to the going, but certainly we've been talking about that on Friday Night Racing, but it is mad that owners would not enter their horses at Cheltenham because they fear for the safety of the horse.
The back page of the Irish Daily Mail goes with the rule story, but they've gone with "It's not fair. Tipperary boss fumes over rule change reversal." So some interesting quotes from Liam Kearns by Mick Clifford here this morning. It's not fair. Either bring in these rules or don't bring them in. And he's complaining about the idea that they shouldn't have been telling them earlier on this year that this might be in or this might not be in for the National League. He feels he's prepared his team to play with the new hand passing rule, and now suddenly he's got 1 week to turn it around and not prepare for the hand passing rule ahead of the start of the National League this weekend. Of course, when it comes to Tipperary's situation, being in Division 2 of the National League, an argument to be made that when you're in that sort of area, Division 2 or 3, you're in kind of the most important divisions, and they care about the National Football League more than any other counties do. So you can see his frustration there, that the National League is a real focus for Tipperary, and suddenly one of the more pivotal rules is just not going to be a part of it. Back page of the Mirror is Harry Can. Winks is all a blur after a late Kane-style match winner, but Delhi injury takes a gloss off victory. And you've also got Pep's Fergie-style hairdryer. Guardiola's half-time rage keeps title bid alive, according to David Anderson. The back page of The Sun this morning is Handy Harry. Hero Winks rescues Spurs, Llorente flops and Ali limps off, and £2 million Carroll on Poch's radar. The back page of the Irish Daily Star is an Irish angle. Troy's story. Pochettino to turn to Paris as Tottenham injury crisis deepens. You've also got Munster eye at Park semi. So Munster will look to use Páirc Uí Chaoimh in the event of a home neutral Heineken Cup semi-final in April. There is only one sequence of results that will allow this to happen, and a potential match in the home of Cork GA, that is Edinburgh and Glasgow, or Munster beating Edinburgh and then Glasgow winning at Saracens. So that is obviously the semi-final draw. It's Saracens against Munster, you would suspect, but in the event of a shock, Munster would have the chance to potentially use Páirc Uí Chaoimh to go up against Glasgow. Back page of The Guardian this morning is Ali's knockout blow for Spurs. Pochettino loses another star player as injury crisis mounts. And you've also got Roger Federer there, the champion, bowing out in Melbourne. And then finally, the front page of the Daily Telegraph sports section is Harry Houdini. Spurs escape with points as Winks scores with last touch of game. But Ali is injured, and the squad depth is really being tested from a Tottenham Hotspur point of view at the moment.